James Sands. I live in the city of Beloit. So when my dad was a kid in the town of Beloit, there was a natural spring across from his farm where he and his friends would go swimming. By the time I was a kid, that was not really there anymore, but there was still a little spring back in the field, but that's gone. And I never really thought about it other than just a curiosity. But I lived in Dallas for a few years, and when there was the really hot summers of 2011 or 10, I think we had a real bad drought up here too during that time. And Dallas is very good at managing water because they, of course, have to deal with the heat and everything. And so it's often illegal during the summer for people to water their lawns and businesses to overuse water. Something that came up down there when there was that much heat and the water levels dropped that much is that the aquifer, when it went down for that long of a time, the spongy structure of the aquifer started to collapse, some of it. And so even when the water was replenished, it couldn't reabsorb as much as it once did. Now, Wisconsin, we have a lot more, a pretty plentiful water table here. And so I don't think we're as accustomed to regulating or imposing regulations on managing water. And I know the two power plants here in the town of Beloit use about 10 million gallons of water a day. About 7 million of that is recycled. I'm not quite sure how that is recycled or where the wastewater goes. But I know one of the big arguments about a data center is that it uses a lot of water for cooling, and I'm not sure how much that is or where that wastewater goes, but having that much water pulled from, and the data center is only about a mile or two from the power plants, having that much pulled from that small of an area, I've got to think that, like we had to re-drill a well when I was a kid to make it deeper, and I'm thinking that how much is going to be pulled? Are people going to have to drill deeper wells? Things like that. So that much water being pulled, that's my main concern, I guess.
Thank you, Jim. Our next speaker is going to be Judy Robson.
Well, thank you, panel. And I also want to thank all of the folks that put this together. You've really made quite a difference. I do want to say that a couple of things. First, these greedy corporations came for our water. There was a time when they wanted to build a pipeline all the way from Lake Michigan to Arizona. And we said no. Now they're back. They want our water. Why are they coming to Wisconsin? Because of this great ocean of clean water that we have, cheap land, and also we gave them a tax break. Why on earth would we give billionaires a tax break? So when they build their So when they have their equipment, their landscaping, their chairs, their computers, their lithium batteries, they don't have to pay any personal property taxes on that. And that's going to cost the state and us about $2 billion in lost revenue. And the other concern that we have heard is about the pollution. Who is going to be paying for all of this? Very currently, there is a proposal before the Public Service Commission and before the DNR to create an LNG factory, a facility to liquefy natural gas and make it into liquid. It's a $2 billion cubic foot facility on Town Line Road. It's $150 million, and who's going to pay for that? The ratepayers, the families of Wisconsin. And we in Wisconsin, or in Rock County, we can't brag about our clean air. We do have a problem with our air. And as a registered nurse, as a former emergency room nurse, I have seen firsthand when toddlers come to the emergency room frantic, gasping for air because their asthma has been triggered by air pollution. I hope you never have to see that. But this LNG factory will add methane and it will add to our air pollution. They are providing the electricity and the power for this hyperscale data center, which will also add to our pollution. So this is a situation in which we not only need a moratorium, but we really need the state of Wisconsin to halt this data centers across the state and to provide some regulation and to provide some guidelines. That we need a task force to look at all these facts before these greedy billionaires who claim they want to help Rock County economically. They don't know about Rock County. They probably have never been here, except maybe once to the Sky Carp Stadium. So what do they think? We're a bunch of country bumpkins and we don't get it? We get it. We know what they're trying to do. They're trying to take our water, they're going to pollute our air, and they're going to walk away with a lot of cash, laughing all the way to the bank. So again, panel, thank you all for being here and help us with this moratorium and to stop these hyperscale data centers from coming to Rock County and to coming into the state of Wisconsin. And Charlie, thank you very much for your leadership on this. You have really made a difference for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And go Brewers.
Thank you, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Bradley. I live in the town of Turtle. I live on Philhauer Road, across the street from the gravel pit. You, you may figure it's a bit dusty and noisy most of the time there. I'm short. Thank you. Might as well put more industry there, no big deal, but it's not. Once in a while we hear like this chunk, 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 muted from the pit, but it's not loud. The beeping of any equipment is rare and so faint that the bird song usually drowns it out. It's only dusty from our gravel driveway. We have a small hobby farm with a few animals. We used to do a veggie stand at the side of the road. The air smells clean and fresh. It maybe isn't, but it smells that way. And we see and hear wildlife often. We hear even the coyotes in the pit. I mean, there's animals down there. Everyone who visits says how peaceful it is. My husband Todd and I have worked on this property for over a decade. It is our dream farm. We live there with our 9-year-old daughter and Todd's parents who are in their 70s and 80s. We have health issues, who doesn't, anymore, ranging from asthma and anxiety to dementia and cancer. But our place helps us to feel content and gets us outside. We always worried about the day that more people would come and move out where we are because it's lovely and they'd build more houses and we wouldn't have our farmland view to look at. But a data center? Will anyone want to live out there next to us? Our house is over 100 years old and this year we had to replace our very old septic system. 3 days of digging, dust, and noise. We couldn't wait for it to be done. If a data center is constructed next to us, it would be across the street. If it was in Turtle Township, it would be years of this dust and noise. We would be forced to move from our home. My in-laws would be uprooted at their advanced age. My daughter is terrified of the changes that would bring. As for my husband and I, our literal blood, sweat, and tears have been woven into the soil of this land and would be lost to us forever. So please understand, this is not land that is already undesirable. It is beautiful and peaceful. After giant, monstrous buildings are constructed there, though, sucking up our water, energy, electricity, and beauty, who will want to live next door? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maddie Bradley, and I live across the street from where the data center is supposed to be. And I live on a farm. We have some animals, and we have a cow that is pregnant with her second calf. And my family is thinking about moving. I really don't want to move. I was born on this land, literally, and I don't want that to happen, moving. I love playing outside, and I really want this data center not to happen.
Gosh, thank you, Julie and Maddie. That was really, yeah. So next up, we have Uriel Perez. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Uriel Perez Gordillo. I have lived in Beloit since the year 2000. I graduated in 2010, and I have been a coach in Janesville for almost 10 years now. That is to say that I have been part of both communities, so I am concerned to what is happening to not just those two communities, but also any community facing this today. The creation of these data centers is something that is almost universally unpopular. One of the things that everybody almost agrees on. And it's disheartening to see that those in power try so hard to go behind our backs, to go against their constituents' wishes. To me, that is a clear act of subordination. Those people in power forget that they have those jobs because we allowed it. We are the ones that put them in those positions of power. We are paying them with our tax dollars. Most of us here are 9-to-5ers. Some of us work earlier than that. Some of us work night shifts, but we all fall under the same umbrella. If any of us were to outright defy the wishes of our bosses, we would surely be reprimanded. This should be no different. Everything has a cost. These data centers are not only going to make our steep bills even more expensive, but they would outright destroy our natural resources. Clean water should not have to be a commodity. Affordable energy should not have to be a pipe dream. We are the ones that we are being exploited. We are the ones being treated as a resource for these billionaires. Why are we supposed to pay all this money that they wouldn't notice missing, that would undoubtedly change our lives for the better? Why do we have to use less in order for them to have more? Not to mention their biggest loot, our information. These are not simply data centers, but digital prisons that will be used to dictate every aspect of our life. What we buy, who we talk to, when we work, when we don't work. The moment we stop feeding the machine, they will know. We are their new exchange, and we cannot allow this to happen. I don't know that I will necessarily be making my future better, but I am not doing this for me. I hope that we can make a better future, not necessarily for us, but for the generations to come. They deserve to live a life full of the joy and wonder that our planet provides. The fruit of our trees, the sparkling of our rivers, lakes, oceans, the blankets of snow on our mountains, the warm embrace of sunlight, and the helping hand of our neighbors, not just in our vicinity, but all over the world. No amount of money can ever compare to that. No amount of money will save us from the destruction. Only through unity, knowledge, and understanding can we hope to overcome anything. Thank you for your time.
I'm just gonna say how much we really truly feel for you all, like for real. You're speaking to people who really understand what you're going through. You have our hearts, okay?
Thank you. My name is Jacob Perry. I am from Janesville, Wisconsin. I had many concerns, which everyone else always referenced, about the water and the environment. And knowing the requirements of cooling for these systems, I can tell you that I grew up here. I lived here 30 years. I spent most of my life riding between uptown and downtown. I want to say 5 years ago, maybe longer, they ripped out a dam that was underneath Center Avenue on 51, and it brightened up that entire nature environment from the delta where the creek comes in. There are pelicans and eagles there now. There are sandbars. The natural environment of the river now looks fantastic. The fishery has improved greatly. And I am deeply concerned that as this data center comes in, as all the others have said before me, it is going to traumatize the environment. If you've ever been around a power plant or a factory, even if you don't hear any explicit sound, you can hear the hum of the transformers, this ethereal electrical force that is in the air. And if we allow these facilities to grow up, we will end up drowning out nature's true sound with all this monetized power just being shoved from A to B for corporations and people who don't even know this community, who don't even know this environment, are just making money out of it. They are taking our land, they are taking our homes for their money. And I can just say that is absolutely unacceptable. I can't really build on any more than that, but thank you. So that's about all I had to say. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jacob. Next up is Sandy Bloom.
Thank you guys so much for hosting this event. I'm Sandy Bloom and I live in the town of Beloit. I'm speaking out today as a school librarian, former teacher, wife, mother, and member of this community. I'm extremely concerned about the potential data centers in Rock County. My husband, daughter, and I live in the Turner Estates neighborhood. We chose this neighborhood because of the excellent Turner School District and because we think it is a peaceful, beautiful, safe place to raise a family. We love it here. We cannot imagine living anywhere else. It breaks my heart to think this could change in a heartbeat. The new site is less than a mile from our home and Garden Prairie School. It is unconscionable that our elected officials are considering allowing Panattoni to build a data center so close to a school that will house hundreds of kids every day. Our children are our most precious resource. They are the future of our community. Why would we ever compromise or harm them? Why would we put in a center that emits light, noise, and air pollution while students are just steps away trying to learn? When these kids go out to play on the playground, they will see and hear this monstrosity. At the moment, there are peaceful farm fields in view of the playground. I don't think that anyone would argue the former is better than the latter. This is not to mention all of the new construction homes that are being built within less than half a mile of the site. I have to wonder why we are bothering to build these beautiful new homes only to put an obnoxious industrial site right next to them. Who will want to live in them? When our property values plummet and we can't stand to be living next to this site, where can we go? What will we do when our electric bills skyrocket and our water is tainted with heavy metals and forever chemicals? How is it fair that they are essentially trapping us and giving us no options? I am also concerned about our already stretched thin fire departments. If this center, God forbid, is a fire or explosion, can we contain it properly? Will this be another chem tool disaster? We have heard of these things happening time and time again in other communities. No matter what corporate speak the Panettone people use to assure us the center is safe and sustainable, these problems are bound to come to our doorstep. Would they want one of these in their backyard? The answer is most certainly no. The closed-door nature of these talks, such as the invite-only lunch and learn this Monday, is highly concerning. We're talking about the livelihoods and health of thousands of people. Our elected officials need to listen to us, not some huge corporation from California that most definitely does not have our best interests at heart. The data center reps are as soulless as the AI chatbots that these data centers fuel. To them, money is the bottom line. The real question is, who will this data center benefit other than them? The reps will come next week and claim the data centers will bring economic benefits and jobs, but ultimately, how many jobs will this actually sustain? I just want to close by saying that over the last few weeks, I've seen many no data center signs in yards, and our Facebook group is over 3,000 strong, and this is a unity I haven't seen in a long time, and to me, that unity means something. It means we are all coming together and saying no together, and that gives me hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
My name is John Lee. If it's okay, I'm going to probably talk to you guys. I'm from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I didn't tell them, but I was hoping to speak a little bit later after hearing the first few, and I might go over my time limit, so yell at me when I need to stop. I have 3 little girls at home, and where I'm from, I can't speak emotionally in front of my elected officials. But I cried when these people talked because my 12-year-old thank you. My 12-year-old and my 10-year-old and my 9-year-old, all little girls. They're gonna build a power plant behind my house. My kids can walk out the door and they can walk to it without crossing a road. And it's just like the one over here. I don't know if there's any Alliant employees here, but if there is, I'd like to talk to you before I leave. Maybe you'll give me answers instead of not answers that I get at home. I don't know if there's elected officials here, but I hear that there might be. And what I'm going to ask of you is listen to these people. It is 2026. Where are the studies in my hand, Alliant Energy, that tells me my kids are safe? That tells me that these kids are safe right here? Where are they? Because it's 2026, you can do them. Where are they? $4.4 billion, $810 million in profit last year. Where are they? You guys had nothing better to do tonight than be here, right? Right? Thank you, Charlie. We all have busy lives. We have so much. Elected officials. These are your customers. These are the people that matter, not the billion-dollar companies. These are the people that vote you into office, not the people that pay for however you get there. These are the voters. You need to listen to the people of this community. I'm going to take a wild guess. Those power plants that I drove by on the way in, 150 million tons is my guess for greenhouse gases that are emitted annually. Does anyone know how much that is? I can say that, but how do you measure that?
It's 2.8 million.
2.8 million on that. Is that both of them together? 2.8 million greenhouse gases. What does that do to our weather? What is that? How does that cumulatively impact? Okay. Now the story is a little backwards at our place. She's saying it's 3 minutes. Can I have one more? There's a few more things I wanted to hit on here. Does anyone know what PM 2.5 is? Look it up. Elected officials, look it up. and talk to anyone that's going to support this. Closed loop, too many questions, not worth it, not worth talking about, it's a mess. Thank you for showing up here, everyone. Thank you. But this isn't it. You guys need to show up where your elected officials have meetings. You have to show up there and you have to educate them. That's what I am doing in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I show up to every meeting and I speak at every meeting and I tell them something different at every meeting, and they're all facts, okay? Those people that sit behind those chairs, behind wherever, however you guys do it, they're not going to go find that, and the health department isn't going to go run and tell them everything. You guys have to find the stuff and you have to tell them, you have to show up. And if they don't listen to you, do whatever you can. This is a disaster and it needs to stop.
My name's Brittany Keys. I'm here to speak as a mom. I have been involved with advocating for clean air in the state line for over 5 years. I have engaged our state regulators repeatedly. I have been told repeatedly that we are okay and we do not have a problem. I have advocated for expanding the regulatory air monitoring, and I have already always told that they do not have the funds and that we do not have a problem. But then you look at the public health metrics. We have some of the highest chronic disease rates, some of the highest asthma rates, some of the highest hospitalizations for asthma. Our schools have some of the highest asthma rates. My children's school has the highest asthma rate in Beloit. And our kids are sick. Caroline completed her first 5K with Girls on the Run this last fall. Her and 22 of her classmates worked really, really hard to train for their first 5K. And whether they were running or walking or both, it was high fives and smiles and just pure joy as they crossed the finish line. And they had the medals hanging from their necks as they got onto the bus, as they were beaming with pride. But on the bus ride home, one of the little girls started to struggle to breathe. The teacher in the back called for the medicine bag, and the teacher came back and hustled, and she brought out the first inhaler, but it wasn't hers. And then she brought out the second inhaler, and it wasn't hers. And then she brought out the third, and then the fourth, and then the fifth. And by the sixth inhaler, they got the inhaler for this little girl, and thank God she was okay. It worked. Her medicine worked. But 6 out of 22 girls for Girls on the Run from Todd Elementary have to have an inhaler. It doesn't have to be this way. And Alliant keeps expanding. And then we learned that Alliant Energy's Title V air permit has been expired since 2015. This is the air permit that looks at the entire source to ensure that Rock County has the protections of the Clean Air Act. We have not had this for 11 years. This big industry that is coming to town is justifying the excessive build-out and nonstop build-out of Alliant Energy. They keep telling us we go buy all the permits. We get the DNR and EPA permits. They do not have the permits. They have not had it since 2015, and our kids are sick. Alliant Energy is sacrificing our health for data centers for their profits. And I want to highlight that this is a cross-state playbook. We just heard from our friend John that they are sacrificing Cedar Rapids just like they're sacrificing us. And we're going to ask our local electeds, and I'm sorry it's coming on your shoulders, but we need you to act. And Caroline says that is my 3 minutes. So thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Caroline Elstrom. I am 8 years old. I live in Beloit, and I don't want this data center because I and a bunch of other kids are athletes on the YMCA fields. That data center would be about a mile down the road. This data center would also harm the people that live around there and also the people that watch the games on the YMCA fields. A lot of kids in my school have asthma. I don't want kids like me that don't have asthma, like me and my brother, to get asthma. After this, I am counting on you, the people that make these decisions, to protect kids like me and to not approve this data center. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really a big deal to get up and speak when you're that small. We really appreciate both of you. You're not small. Next up is Kelly Bates. Here she is coming in from the back, I think, with a whole bunch of kids.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly. And this is Malcolm and Sky and Lily and here's Sky.
The only answer to data centers, is no.
So Lily and I are farmers and horticulture therapists at an educational farm that is 10 to 15 minutes up the stream from Turtle Creek, where the data center is supposed to be. As a Wisconsinite, a mother, a farmer, data centers are a threat to everything that's important to me. And the driving forces of these data centers, the big tech companies, they know that. And that's why they build as many of them as fast as they can before we can become privy to what they're doing and resist. And now that we're resisting, big tech is tempting our officials and our infrastructure companies with ridiculous amounts of money and moving as fast as they can upon approval because they know what they're trying to buy is priceless and what they're doing to our land is wrong. And now that we're resisting big tech, and so they call the land that they want to put the data centers on a gravel pit, and they want to portray it as useless. But the truth is, all of those acres are a part of a living and deeply connected ecosystem. And when you look at what surrounds the area of the proposed data center, Big Tech sees empty land, but it's a living community of farms, forests, wetlands, and rural communities, all sharing and respecting Wisconsin's rich natural resources, our soil and our watersheds. And for generations, farmers have used sustainable practices to protect the resources that sustain us. Fertile soil is a living resource, and it's not simple to revive once it's killed. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. So on our farm, we manually control our weeds instead of using chemicals, because nothing's worth contaminating the soil that we grow our food in and the water that we need to drink. And to allow big tech companies to use and abuse our land with data centers is disrespectful, to say the least, to all the Wisconsinites that work so hard to care for it. Data centers are giant, fragile machines that use tons of chemicals and practices that haven't been around long enough for us to see the full effects of. And all we know is that it's not going to be good, and that there's possibly no good that you can ever even do to neutralize the negative impact they have. And one of the chemicals that a lot of data centers use, it's ethylene glycol, and that's antifreeze. And it's highly toxic, and so when data centers use millions of gallons of water, what business do they have doing in a place where our water pipes freeze for 9 months out of the year? And how much antifreeze and other chemicals is it going to take to keep millions of gallons of water in their systems running when we have weeks in a row of negative 20-degree weather? So not only are data centers using our water, but they're poisoning it with methods so harsh that it's been proven difficult to completely reclean our water for potable use again, and in fact, I don't believe these data centers have actually proven that they can truly clean the water and the air that they're contaminating. And they're lying about it, and we see it all across the country. They're lying about their closed loops. Chemicals are being found in the water and soil miles away from their properties. They're lying about how many generators they're using and how they're polluting the air and what practices they have in place to prevent damaging our environment. And what is it all for? It's for them to use our data against us. I say against us because this has no real benefit to it. Its only purpose is to collect data and use more data. Its only purpose is to collect and use more of our data. And that data word is a blanket statement that's meant to take the humanity out of everything that it is, which is everything that makes up our lives. It's our families and our homes and our work and anything that could possibly be documented. That's what data is. But to big tech, our data is just dollar signs. And it's proven in the way that one of the leading creators of data centers has just become the world's first trillionaire, while the Americans affected by it still don't have potable water or clean air or peace of mind from the noise pollution and economic stress. And so thank you guys for being here, because we need to fight big tech every step of the way, because our data and our land and our lives is not for sale.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? My name is Colleen Weig, and I live in Clinton. I used to live in Beloit years ago, and I lived in Beloit for 25 years and raised my children. I moved away, and I came back about 3 years ago. A year ago, I moved to Clinton, and to find this. I'm very upset, I'm very angry, and we don't seem to get answers that we need. I think it's totally unfair on that end. One of my questions is, why would we consider having a company come into our community to build anything that would do the damage that it does? Why would we even consider doing business with them? There's no transparency. There's no consideration. They want to bulldog over us, and they think we're going to lay down and not fight. I don't understand why some of the officials that we have elected would even consider this. If they were to do a business deal having to do with their homes and they didn't get the correct answers, they definitely would not give that person the job. We need to keep on fighting and to pull together, not just our community, but all of those across our nation. Thank you so much for allowing us to be able to speak. And I'm just here to encourage everyone to hang in there and fight for all you're worth.
They pay attention to how you vote. And if they don't vote the way you would like them to vote, then it's up to you to make sure they don't like the way you vote the next election. This pertains to city councilors, because you've got 2 cities that are involved here, the town boards, the county boards, those that you elect at the state assembly, and those you elect at the state senate. Make sure they know how you want to vote. You've got to let them know and know that they will not like you when comes election time if they don't vote the way you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Next up, we're going to have our very own Shelley.
My question is what I'm going to pose to the community. When are you going to be outraged enough? When are you going to be outraged that you haven't noticed local leaders, developers, or business interests are even giving regular people a seat at the table? They're having private luncheons, presentations, and formal meetings while the public gets an open house with a few hours to wander through some display boards. Will you have enough when you haven't noticed the repeated attempts to paint concerned citizens as uninformed, emotional, or somehow benefiting from speaking up? How about when you've watched people imply that we're not showing up or asking questions when so many of us have spent months attending meetings, filing open records requests, searching documents, and speaking whenever we're given the opportunity? Maybe you'll be outraged when you have heard that community concerns are dismissed as fear and emotion instead of seeing that actual questions are answered. You haven't been on our side, reading open requests and finding out that these projects have been talked about for more than 6 years behind our backs. 6 years. And those are some of the things that pushed me to raise my head, to find my voice and start speaking up. Because as I've told my community, Rock County neighbors, I didn't have a lot of skin in the game when this was Janesville. And it's not a NIMBY thing where I was afraid because it's in my backyard, because it really is. I'm a half a mile from the proposed data center. I'm a half a mile from the LNG facility. I'm sandwiched right in the middle of the two. I live across the street from Alliant Energy. I'm outraged enough when I learned that the power plant across the street from me, where I have built my home, has been operating under an expired Title V air permit since 2015. And it has more than doubled in size since that time, under an expired air permit. While at the same time, it's with the PSC right now, while they're considering the application for air permit for a 2 billion cubic foot LNG storage facility in the same area. Make it make sense. Or how about the outrage I felt when I filed a noise and light complaint about that same facility and was told that the town cannot locate an approved or signed conditional use permit, nor a copy of the zoning ordinance that was in effect at the time. Where are our protections? You should be outraged. You should be outraged when people are expected to live with the impacts that are left while searching for answers, while the companies searching for expansion continue advancing through the approval processes. When will you have enough?
Thank you, Charlie. Next up is Yusuf Adama.
Hello, my name is Yusuf Adama. I live in the town of, no, I don't. I live in the city of Beloit. I didn't want to go towards the end because I get emotional during these things. So, like, my voice cracks or something. Don't laugh at me. It's frustrating and sad to be in this position. I have a mom who's amazing. A lot of you might even know her. She's a teacher and does a lot. And when we were growing up, we moved all around. We lived in Long Beach and Baltimore and Orange County and all over because she wanted to go to inner cities where they needed help. And eventually we came to Beloit, which I love very much. It's the first place we lived for more than like 8 years, and it's an awesome city. I will say that I was shocked to be in Wisconsin, the state that created the Public Service Commission, the first one to have it, to find that, and this is a bigger scope, but to walk in neighborhoods in Kenosha and find out that there's coal plants still, to find out that there's people that know about ash falling on their children's toys, and to go to communities that are constantly not heard. And the same pattern persists when we look at data centers and development, and that pattern is the fact that over and over again, economic development is put first and foremost, and the health of people is not. I'm, 5'11", 6'1", if you ask me in the club. I'm a pretty, solidly physical guy. There's no rule or obligation that says that if I were to walk outside right now and see some elderly person getting beat up, that I would have to do anything. I could walk by. No one's gonna, it's not illegal. I could just watch someone get beat and not do anything. But if I didn't do something, I'd be kind of a piece of shit for that. And it is wild to me that we know that these facilities and these build-outs kill people. And it's not like an exaggeration or anything else. They lead to deaths. It's wild that I have so many classmates with lung conditions and that children are sick from something that is well documented to harm every organ system. And as a nerd, it's crazy because you wonder if these people have never read a book, like have never seen Terminator or like a Waterworld or all this stuff. And it's almost like they have, and that they're making every decision. Like if I was a writer and I wrote the things they did, you'd be like, that's lazy. You can't just like give the money. You watch the movies in the 80s where the town gets together to save the thing and everyone is freeze frames at the end, and that's not real life, and that's tragic. It's insane that over and over again, people aren't listened to, that these developers they know that you're kind people. They know what Midwest nice is. They prey on that. They don't think that you're gonna hear the hearings where they talk about LNGs and how they don't know who the LNG is for, and you have lawyers asking, are you putting a cart before a horse if you're trying to put energy for a project you can't even tell us? And it's the data center. We have to look at these things, and we are not allowed to look at them comprehensively. We can't say, wow, it's really wild that this is here and a school is right there. No one, our regulators don't care when you say that, but that's important. We're not allowed to say, wow, it's really wild that, you know, since 2015, this facility hasn't had proper air monitoring. It's wild that this person specifically had to do a study to find out what even the air quality in Beloit is, to find out that we're one of the worst polluted places in the nation. So they want us, these developers, to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though they've heard us over and over again, and they refuse to come to us honestly. If you don't think your data centers are poisoning people, give us the numbers, show us. But you're coming with NDAs, and you're expecting us to just roll back while you say that we're funded by China, or that anyone that stands up against this is a radical, and da-da-da-da. It is genuinely insane, and it is so wild that we're supposed to have such calm, rational, sane responses to such an insane situation. So I will say the only thing I do appreciate about data centers is that the community has come together. It is amazing seeing people in health state of our nation. I am so proud to call this neighborhood a neighborhood that I love to walk around in. I like seeing people. I love that people play outside here. I would like that to continue, and please take this energy and really analyze the rest of the structures that allowed this to happen. We can't let it stop here because there's so much in place that puts people last. So we have to make sure that we put people first, and we force that. Thank you.
Yusuf.
I'm Amanda Bell. I was a hydrologist, which is a water scientist with the U.S. Geological Survey for 25 years. And when DOGE came in last year and started cutting science and research funding, I decided that I wasn't going to stand for it, so I took the deferred resignation and I left. But I started attending meetings in Port Washington and Beaver Dam and Manitowoc and Sheboygan and Janesville, and I'm going, what the heck is going on? Why is nobody standing up for the community? Why is nobody talking about the impacts to our environment? And why do the city and town councils not care? So I went to the one meeting in Port Washington, and of course I'm just there a little trying to figure out what's going on. Talk to the Vantage guy. So talk to me about the water quality stuff that you guys are gonna do. And he's like, it's all right, it's a closed system. And I said, right, but eventually you're going to need to refresh that water, and that water is gonna come out. And he goes, well, we're gonna have a third party come in and clean that water. Okay, who's testing that that third party is cleaning that water properly? Well, the third party. To which I replied, sir, I've spent 25 years studying water for the federal government. I've been at Superfund sites when the companies said, don't worry, we're not polluting. I promise we're cleaning up after ourselves. And you know what happened? They lied. And you know who had to clean it up? You did. Your taxpayer dollars had to come in and clean up after these corporations. If Meta, Vantage, Google, Pepperoni truly cares about your communities, there would be a bond set up to ensure that any damage done to your community, your school, your health, your environment, your water is insured. Setting aside $20, $50 million, man, that's like a cheeseburger for them. That's nothing. But that is huge for Rock County. So I'm doing my best to help all of these communities, going around using my expertise, because I don't work for the government anymore. I don't have those limitations of government oversight and all that, so I can actually talk about it. And I can help communities, and I can go around and make sure that somebody is speaking for you with the expertise of the water quality. Thank you. So as it's been said before, if there's any elected officials in here, listen to your constituents, because I'm not trusting these trillion-dollar corporations when they tell me that they're taking care of the water, because I'm sorry, I'm a farm kid. That's like the fox guarding the hen house and saying, don't worry, everything's fine, just don't look in the hen house, they're all okay. I don't believe you. I don't believe them. And I want to make sure that they're listening and actually showing up for the communities they pretend to care about. So make sure you're electing people that are listening, that care about the environment, that care about you, and not just the bottom line.
I'm Jay Hopkins from northern Wisconsin and eastern Iowa. I'm not a public speaker, so just bear with me. So in northern Wisconsin, there's no data centers yet. I spend much of my time in eastern Iowa in Lynn County. 2 years ago, there was no data centers there either. You guys have 4 proposed in Rock County. We heard there'd be 1 in Lynn County. Now, it's 13 Google data centers and 6 QTS data centers. Several of them are already built, they're already turned on, or about to be turned on this week maybe. There's a plan for 30 to 50 more. Every day, more parcels are purchased by outside entities that want to build data centers. We're on tap to be the 14th densest populated data center area in the United States if this goes through. So data centers, then they have to have power, as we all know. Alliant has an unregulated side within their company. They take the profits that they make good money off of our utility bills. They take that money and legally transfer to their unregulated side where they buy land at exorbitant prices that you and I can't compete with. They hold on to that land. They'll hold it for years. It doesn't cost them anything. In the meantime, they have a division that cultivates business with high energy consumers, companies that will use a lot of energy, like data centers. In Lynn County, they brought the data centers to the table. They supply the land, they build through another company called ITC in Iowa, the power lines. They use eminent domain. They're trying to use that on me. So they are trying to build a power plant in Lynn County within miles of a second nuclear power plant that that Google's bringing online. This is what your county, your area is potentially going to face. They tell you that it's proposed. It doesn't stop there. They will be here. Once they get one, they just come. Will they have 70 like us? Maybe, maybe not. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone except Alliant. I encourage you to ask questions. Push your elected officials. Do what you can. If you don't step up, speak up, push your officials, the data centers will be here and your quality of life will be gone. Thank you.
Jay, real quick, can you just tell people what you were telling me before this about the construction traffic and waiting in your driveway?
Yeah, it wasn't my driveway specifically, but so in our area, the data centers, they bring 8,000 people every day to a particular job site. It takes more than 3 hours for that line of traffic to get by certain areas. The people with driveways at those places wait 45 minutes to get out of their driveway onto the road so that they can go to work. I'm aware of people that have had to take vacation time because they can't get to work on time and they're not allowed to just show up whenever they want to. Those 8,000 people overwhelm the local infrastructure of the local community. The data centers say, it's legal for us to do that. We can bring 8,000 people onto your roads that normally support maybe 1,000 people. It's not illegal for us to do that. So sorry, guys, you shouldn't have lived where you lived for so long because now we bought the land and we built the data centers, or are building the data centers. This construction is supposed to last for 5 to 8 years. Imagine if you had to wait to get out of your driveway for 45 minutes for 5 to 7 years. How long would you live there? And that's what they're actually counting on. If they push all the people out, then it just opens up more area for more data centers. Alliant is not your friend.
Thanks, Jay.
You could just lay it down. Yeah, that's it. We're good. Okay, wow, that's horrific. Next, we'd like Sam Nemitz to come up, please. Thanks, Sam.
Take this off. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Nemitz. I am a resident of the city of Janesville. I'm also a organizer for the Rock County Neighbors for Responsible Development, as well as many other organizations. I don't really have anything prepared, just kind of going off the dome right now, but it's been so great to hear all of the really heartbreaking stories and the touching stories of how these billion-dollar plans and projects have affected in so many ways just the residents of so many communities and everything. And I've witnessed this firsthand as a resident of Janesville with the numerous proposals here in Rock County. First one starting out at the GM Jacko site, and it's just been a insane process since that first proposal came out. And to see our elected officials not listen to the people, and to see the people come together and fight back for their communities has been just really, really great to see. Not the elected officials part, but the people rallying together and defending their communities because their elected officials won't. And that is, in essence, what it comes down to. How we, fight these is the solution is we have to come together and organize. That is the solution. Organize with our communities and say no to these, there's too many words to describe how harmful these data centers are affecting our communities. And that's the one thing I just want to reach out or get out to everybody, is to get organized, talk to your neighbors and really get involved and see how you can get involved in these ways that we are fighting back against these data centers. We've seen in multiple places all over the country, people coming together and fighting back and shutting down proposals and fighting back and winning. And that's what we need is people coming together. So, sorry. Last thing I'll say, if you are a resident of Janesville, even if you're not a resident of Janesville, if you are in the Rock County area, come to the Monday City Council meeting in Janesville to show support in the extent of the letter of intent, so that we can keep taking the time to get protections and answer all our questions. Make sure we are fighting for and protecting our community members. All right, so please show support in that, and thank you very much.